welcome. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Chantecaille Spring Collection for 2021, and I picked up the entire collection. So that includes 3 limited edition lip cheeks as well as this eye quartet. And the eye quartet is 2 grams or 0.07 ounces. It's made in Italy. You can see you've got this beautiful butterfly here, and on the lip cheeks you also have a butterfly, and that's because the cause that they are sponsoring this time is the Xerces Society. So what they're doing is trying to increase land for pollination for the butterflies. As I'm sure you are all aware, butterflies and bees are some of our main pollinators for our foods, and their habitat is shrinking quickly. So Chantecaille is donating pollinator kits and so forth to this particular plot of land in California for increasing butterfly diversity and so forth there. Now the lip cheeks are 2.5 grams or 0.09 ounces. They are also made in Italy. And let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging here. Last year for the spring collection, Chantecaille came out with the hummingbird quads, and you can see that they are going to be the exact same size. They're also the same type of packaging. One thing to note, if you're not familiar with any of this type of packaging yet, these tops do get sticky. So they don't get sticky like, for example, you know how like the NARS packaging, as that gets older, it gets sticky like that. No, this is more just the fact that this is like a plastic, and when this sits on top for like a couple of minutes, you can see that this will stick to it for a second. I have actually already dropped mine because I had it sitting on top of something else, and my shadow did pop out, but I was able to put it back in. So you can see it's just something to note. So you have to be careful with how you store them, or how you pick them up rather, so that they don't stick to something else. So just something to know. But the case here, we have the beautiful butterfly on the outside, and then inside we have a mirror, and then these are the shadows. So they're very, very beautiful, soft neutrals. And we do have a trichrome shade here. Now let's start off with some swatches of the lip cheeks here. So we have 3 of them. This first one here is Clover. I'm going to put these on my hand. So here's Clover, and it's going to be a light, soft pink. Next, in the more lime green packaging, we have Peach Blossom. And you can see when you build it up, you can see a little bit more of this like reddish orange shade for the undertones. This is going to be a warm peach, but it's pretty neutral. And then we have Hyssop. And I thought Hyssop was going to be more of a berry, but you can see here that we actually have more of a warm red base to it. So it's got a little bit of plum in it, but it's really a warm red with a touch of plum kind of mixed in there. So these are the 3 limited edition lip cheeks: Clover, Peach Blossom, Hyssop. Now I'm going to show you some lip swatches of those real quick. Great, so before we move on to the eye quartet, let's just do some comparison swatches for these shades. I don't really have anything super similar to Peach Blossom, but I do have one or two things to compare. Let's start off with Clover though. And we're gonna start off with the Rose de Mai shade from John Darien. You can see here that this is also going to be a warm pink shade, but you can see that the John Darien limited edition Rose de Mai is going to be a little bit more pigmented. There's more of a sheer base with the Clover. I did get a request to put that with Peach Blossom as well, so just so you can see how different those are. This is definitely going to be pink, whereas Peach Blossom is truly a pure peach. Next, we're going to take a look at Lupine, which came out last year for the spring collection. This is Lupine here versus Clover. And you can see that Clover is going to be a softer pink. Lupine is going to be a brighter pink there. And it's also a little bit cooler in undertone. From the regular line, we have Moabi. And I put that right here. So you can see that Moabi is going to be deeper. There's a little bit more red in there. And then this one here is Baobab. And I'm going to put that right in between, put that right there between Peach Blossom. You can see again, this one's going to have a little bit more of a brick tone to it. So it's a little bit deeper. This one here is Pink Lotus. We're going to put this right here at the top. You can see how much deeper that shade is. That one's actually going to be much more similar to Lupine, but you can see that it's going to be slightly warmer in tone than Lupine. This is the Lip Chic in Bourbon Rose. And I'm going to move this one over here now. So here's Bourbon Rose and here's Clover. So Clover and Bourbon Rose. You can see that Clover is going to be a little bit warmer than Bourbon Rose, but they both have a very similar level of sheerness. And then last up we have Plumeria, which came out for the fall collection. So here's Plumeria next to Clover. And you can see that Plumeria has a little bit more plum in it. Clover is going to be a bit warmer. All right, I actually don't have too many here to compare to Peach Blossom, so we're going to go ahead and add them onto this mess here. So this shade right here, you can see is much deeper. This came out last spring. This is Passion Flower. And you can see that there's going to be a lot more red. And you can see where I built Peach Blossom up. One sheer layer of Passion Flower is more similar to a built up layer of Peach Blossom. But even then you can see that there's not nearly as much red. Peach Blossom is really going to be a pure peach. And then we also have Coral Belle. Put that right here. You can see Coral Belle is going to be a lot more pink. And that's all I have for Peach Blossom. It's not a color that I have anything like. It's a pure peach. And you know, I was thinking about this. I haven't tried this, but I really think that this shade being such a true neutral peach, you could use it as like an under eye corrector and everything as well. So I think, you know, this could be a multi-use product. So I'll have to try that sometime, but I definitely think that could work. Now for Hyssop, we don't have a lot of space there. So I'm going to move it down here as well. So we got Hyssop there. And I don't have a ton of shades to compare to Hyssop with either. We're going to start with Acacia from the fall collection. And you can see here that Acacia has a little bit more like of a brownish tone in there. They are similar, but we've got more plum in Hyssop and more of a brownish red in Acacia. Just one more to compare to Clover real quickly. This is Honeysuckle. So here's Honeysuckle, here's Clover. You can see again that they're not going to be that close, but I did want to compare them because they're both fairly light. They have kind of that same level of sheerness. This is the Lip Chic in Amour right here. And you can see that that's going to be a lighter, a softer, more pinky shade than Hyssop. And those are it for my comparisons. Now, moving on to the Butterfly Quartet, just wanted to note that you do have this beautiful soft green for the edges here and for the back. And again, we have the butterfly here. And let's go ahead and take a look at these 4 shades. Now, if you haven't seen it already, I have a Get Ready With Me where I did my first impressions of this collection. And I do have an eye look in there if you're interested. So this first shade here is more of a warm taupe, and you can see that it has a satin finish. It's a really pretty one and done shade. This is the trichrome, and you know, they call it a green trichrome. To me, it's really more like there's a little bit of green, but you know, one of those like yellow greens. I see a lot more gold with this. You know, to me, it's not a true trichrome. I expect to see, when I hear the word trichrome, I expect to see more color reflect than what I see here. This looks primarily gold to me, or like greenish gold, but I don't really see so much of the other shades. It's a very, very subtle trichrome. Other shades are in there. They say that there's like a little bit of pink and so forth. I don't really ever see like a pink reflect. It's more so that there might be a few like pink particles in there that you can see at certain times, but it never looks, you know, completely pink in specific lighting or anything like that, if that makes sense. So to me, it's not what I think of when I hear the word trichrome. Then we have this soft peach, and this is going to be a creamier shade. So these 2 taupey shades are both going to be a similar satin formula. Then this peachy shade is going to be a little bit creamier in texture. And then we have the trichrome. So this is going to be a true peach. And then we have another, this is going to be a soft brown. It's still kind of taupey, but it's cooler in tone than this one here. These both give beautiful one and done shades, and they perform very beautifully. Let's go ahead and take a look at the eye looks that I have included here with this quartet, and then we'll come back for some swatch comparisons and my thoughts. I'm starting off with a Refer 16. I'm going to go into this first shade here, and I do not have any primer or anything on. Just going to put this in the crease. And we're going to go for a peachy look today. Taking the Builder 3 from Suniji into the peach, I'm going to put this all over the lid. You can see that you can go very sheerly with this. It's not a super deep peach. I wiped off the brush. I'm going to go into the trichrome shade. I'm just going to put a little bit of this in the center of the lid. And I'm just kind of blending it out just a touch. So there's just a little something there, but it's not that noticeable. Taking the pencil one, I'm going to go back into the shade that I used in the crease. Just going to line the eyes with this. You can see how light this is. And this color can be built up, but it's still never going to be a really deep shade. Taking the trichrome, I'm going to use it in the inner corner. And this is the final look from a distance. I paired it with the Suku 124 blush, as well as the new Chanel Pearl de Lumiere highlight. And on my lips, I have the Peach Blossom Lip Chic, which is this shade. All right, so we're gonna go in a little bit deeper today. This is the Esom S33. I'm gonna go into this shade here at the bottom. And I'm not gonna use any primer today. I was trying to test it yesterday without primer, but the eye look was just so light that it was really hard to get a good result. I couldn't really see very well. And one of the things I want to try before I figure out what I'm doing is the trichrome just on the bare lid. I want to see how vibrant it is. You can see it's definitely going to be brighter with the finger. We're going to just put this in the inner corner for now. So this is where you can really see more of that green. Taking the Builder Pro into this shade at the top, I'm going to put this on the lid. You can see that it really is just like a beautiful one and done kind of shade. I'm going to go over this green actually right now. Just see how these layer. So you can see that this taupe shade is going to be pretty opaque. Don't really see any of the shimmer there anymore. And I'm just going to go a little bit into this deepest shade and just add a little bit more to the outer corner here. All right, so this is pretty similar to the look I did in the Get Ready With Me. We're going to skip the peach. We're just going to go ahead and add this kind of all over the lid just to get something a little different today. You know what? I think we'll just kind of layer it here in the inner corner and then just put it along the lash line here. I don't know. Just spread that a little bit with the brush, see what that does. So that gives it more of an ethereal look. But I think, yeah, I'm just gonna use the finger and apply it all over the lid. All right, so this is going to be my look featuring the trichrome. And for the lash line, let's see. I'm going to take the Sonia G Flat Definer and I'm going to go into this deepest shade. All right, so that's going to be it. And this is the final look for today. So I added the Sisley So Stretch Mascara in brown. I have on a very light application of the Chantecaille cushion in Aura. And on my cheeks is the Sisley Golden Rose. You can see that sheen. There's no additional highlight. That's all the blush. And then on my lips, we have the Chantecaille Lip Chic in Hyssop, which is the deepest shade in this collection. And it has more of a like warm red base to it. I'm going to start off with this shade here, and this is the Sonia G Pencil 2. I'm going to add a little bit more. And I'm just dragging what's left into the crease. Using the same brush, going into the peach. You can see how well these shadows blend for a transition. And next I'm taking the Builder One from Sonia G and I'm going to use the Trichrome. I'm going to put this all around the lash line. You know what, I'm going to dampen the brush first. All right, and that's gonna be today's look. All right, we're gonna start off by swatching the Dior 669 Soft Cashmere. I'm just gonna go ahead and swatch all 5 shades here. Although some of these shades are not that similar, I feel like sometimes when you see like the entire color story, you can get a better idea of how similar something can be in your collection. So these 2 shades are going to be fairly similar in color. This one is going to be fairly similar as well. And then we don't have anything like the peach or the trichrome. We also have the Dior 579 Jungle palette. So you can see that this is going to be a lot more orange than the peachy shade there. And our brown is going to be fairly similar to this one, but you can see that this one's going to be deeper and slightly cooler in tone, whereas the Chantecaille one has a little bit more, there's a little something extra in there, gives it a little bit more dimension. And for completion, we'll swatch these last 2. This is kind of, you can see the trichrome shade, that's kind of like the closest you're going to get there, but they're really nothing alike. And again, this one is a solid color, whereas the trichrome, you will see a little bit of color change. Again, it's really more like you see particles of different colors when the light hits, not like a whole shift. And this is Dior 549 Golden Snow from the holiday collection. We're gonna go ahead and swatch a few of these. So these, we've got these 3 here on the right now. And I'm gonna actually put these along the side here. So this is that peachy shade. You can see that the Dior is gonna be more golden. And here is the golden shade from there. And you can see how similar it is to the trichrome, aside from the fact that it doesn't have multi colors in there. That's kind of what the primary shade looks like, in my opinion. And here's the more ochre shade. And then we'll just put the brown shade from there. You can see it's gonna be a little bit deeper. It's more of a flatter matte, and it's cooler in tone in the Dior. Now we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Tom Ford Nude Dip. We're gonna skip the champagne shade, but we're gonna do the other 3. So let's see, here's the peachy shade. You can see that it's definitely not as peachy as the Chantecaille. And then let's take a look. We'll go down here for these. Let me re-swatch the Chantecaille. So these 2 here are the Chantecaille taupes. So you can see that the undertones are going to be different for all of those. Forgot one more thing I wanted to compare this to is the luminescent eye shade in Elephant. So I'm going to actually put that over here. Let's put it here. So you can see there how different they are. And that's going to be it for my comparisons, and let's go ahead and discuss my thoughts on this collection. If you're not familiar with the Chantecaille Lip Chic formula, this is going to be a more balm style lipstick. So what I mean is you've got kind of like that sheer base that feels more like a really comfortable lip balm. And then obviously you've got color, but there's more pigment to it than there would be with like a tinted lip balm. So it's, you know, a medium consistency, very comfortable on the lips, very hydrating. They're gorgeous. I love the Lip Chic formula. In contrast, there's also the lip veil, which is commonly in this square rectangular packaging, but the lip veil and the Lip Chic are slightly different. The lip veils actually are slightly more pigmented typically. They have a little bit of a thinner layer of that balm in there, so they're a little bit thinner on the lips than the Lip Chics, and I find that more often than not, they're going to be slightly more pigmented because they have a little bit less of that sheer balm in there. So just something to know, but I find both formulas to be fantastic. And I have to say that they are one of my favorite lipstick formulas of all. I absolutely love them. I think they are so comfortable. As for these 3 shades, I think all of these shades work really well with the collection. and I really enjoy all three of them. However, I have to say that Peach Blossom is going to be my least favorite for my particular coloring. It's a little bit more opaque than the other two. There's not quite as much sheerness to it. It's just not really my color, but I think it's a gorgeous shade. And then we've got the Clover and the Hyssop. I really like both of them. I was thinking Hyssop was going to be more berryish than it is, but it ends up being very beautiful. And by the way, with any of these, if you put a little bit of lip balm on and then put this on top of some lip balm, you can sheer it out, you know, without any change in texture or performance. So just something to note there. They work beautifully over lip balm as well if you'd like a more sheer wash of color. And I think these are fantastic shades. Clover is my favorite. That's the type of color I really kind of gravitate towards. So that one will be my favorite here. I've actually worn it for several days already. It's one that I just keep reaching for. So I think it's a beautiful, beautiful shade. So personally, I wouldn't hesitate to pick up any of these three lip Chics. I love them. I love picking up all of these limited edition colored packaging ones. You know, this is no exception. The only thing that I wish they would change about the lip Chics is the scent. I'm not really a huge fan of the scent. It's like a vanilla scent. It's not something that I love personally. I prefer something not scented. So as for my thoughts on the eyeshadow quad, I think this is a gorgeous quad. You know, Chantecaille never disappoints with the packaging. You've got the small touches like the green metallic on the side, this beautiful butterfly. You've got a full-size mirror for the compact. You know, it's a really stunning palette. So again, as I mentioned, I do wish that they used material that didn't adhere so easily to other products. But you know, this is how they've been doing quite a bit of their packaging recently. So there's that. And I want to mention that all of these eyeshadows perform really well. You don't have to use a primer with any of them. They will last all day without creasing, at least they do on my eyes. So you can use a primer if you'd like, but it's not necessary. Now, there are three different formulas in this quad. We have the trichrome, which in my opinion is not really, it's not a true trichrome. It's really more of a, you know, pressed shimmer. It's not chunky like a glitter, so I'd say a pressed shimmer. And there are different shades of that shimmer kind of mixed in there. So you've got some yellow, some green, some pink. And so it's not really that you're seeing like a full color reflect. It's really more that you're seeing the different shades of the shimmer in there. So to me, it's not a true trichrome. Then we have these two gorgeous taupes and then the peach. So these two are going to be a satin formula and the peach is going to be more of a creamy matte. And they are all beautiful. And you can see that the peach, there is a tiniest touch of shimmer. It's not a flat matte in there. But I think these are all beautiful. They all perform very well and they all blend together very nicely as well. So no problems whatsoever with the performance of these shadows. This color story I think is really nice. Chantecaille is known for having soft, subtle, sophisticated makeup, and this quad really accomplishes that. However, for me, I just don't think the color story is as interesting or compelling as the color stories in the Hummingbird quads that came out last spring. So I feel like those shades were just a little bit more unique. And they also did something that this quad is missing. This quad is really gonna only be suitable for fair to medium skin tones. I think even when you get into full medium and deeper medium skin tones, it's really not gonna show up that well. These are very light. Now the peach shade on my fair skin basically blends in with my eye. You can't really see it. These taupe shades will stand out, and those are the ones that I'm gonna primarily reach for. They're gorgeous taupe shades. That being said, these two taupe shades are very similar to each other, so I don't really think it was necessary to have both of them in this quad. There are, of course, differences between these. This one's cooler in tone and slightly richer, whereas this one's gonna be a little bit warmer in tone. But again, you're paying like $72, I believe, for this quad. And these are small pans. You can see how much extra space there is around the pans here. So they're small pans. So considering you don't have a lot of product here for the cost, I would expect each of these 4 shades to be something really special and, you know, just really different, really unique. And these two being very similar, I feel is a missed opportunity. They could have removed one of these and put in something with some more depth, or, you know, just a different color even. So I've got a couple issues then with the color story. One is lack of depth, because these are all light to medium tones. So there's no depth here to this palette, which for the most part, you know, if your target audience is really only going to be light skin tones, you know, that's fine, but you're missing a large part of the market with that. Then the other issue is the lack of range with these particular colors. I love both of these shades and I will use both of them quite a bit, but I really do believe that they should have added in something different. Now, I also think there was a missed opportunity with this trichrome shade, because if you look at this packaging, I really would have loved to see a trichrome shade that incorporates this blue and this purple and then this green. And I would have preferred to have something a little bit more of a true trichrome. This looks primarily gold on me, and it's not very often that you see much of a color shift, even with the different particles. It's really more that this is mostly gold with a few, you know, other color particles in there. But again, the majority of it is gold. So it's not really a true trichrome to me. And even if they wanted to stick with this subtle style, I would have loved to have seen some, you know, more different colors. These are also light that they kind of just blend in together. You can see even in the pan here, you've got green, gold, a little bit of pink, but again, it's primarily going to be gold. So overall, I think this is a really nice quad. If you're looking for soft, subtle, sophisticated shades, this is going to be it. These are going to be really natural, really subtle on the eye. This trichrome shade can add a little bit of an ethereal tone to it. And I believe this trichrome shade was meant to simulate like a butterfly's wing, which is technically transparent. So that's one of the reasons for more of this subtle trichrome, which I understand. I just would have preferred some more like vibrant shades or something on there, something more reminiscent of the butterfly that they're using on the packaging. But I do think that this is a really great soft neutral palette. So whether or not this quad is worth the money is going to be a personal decision, and I think it's going to depend on what type of look you like. If you're looking for really soft, subtle neutrals, this is a fantastic quad for that. Whether it's worth this cost compared to some of the others that I compared it with, you know, that's again going to be a personal decision. I don't regret having this quad. For me personally, it's probably not worth the money just because I would prefer to have some other shades in here. I love these shades and I would definitely purchase them individually if they were sold individually. But again, considering the cost of the quad and, you know, how really I'm going to use 2 out of the 4 shades the most, you know, it's not that cost effective compared to some of the other products that I compared it with. So I like it. I'm happy to have it. I love the soft neutral look, but for me, it would get like kind of a middle grade because I do feel like they missed out on some opportunities with this quad. So I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that button right down below. And if you've already picked this up, I'd love to know your thoughts, or if you are considering picking up any of these items. Again, I think it's a really nice cohesive collection. Definitely wouldn't hesitate on any of the lip cheeks if you're interested in any of the colors. This quad, I think, is going to be, you know, it's going to be great for some people, but it's not going to work for a lot of people. So I would give it kind of a middle grade there. And yeah, that sums up everything. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you soon. Have a great day and stay safe and healthy.